change my caption. If I can figure out how to change it. But I'm going to do that. So, well, basically, I'm going to go over how to set up Asana for Chase and kind of just show him some things he can do. All right. Anyway, I don't know. This caption shit isn't working, so whatever. Deal with it later. Sorry if you can't see. All right. So Chase says he's looking for Asana versus Trello. It's coming from a spreadsheet / Slack. He wants to automate stuff for his podcast, investing, biz, team, and new ventures. Okay, so for the different things that he wants to do, I recommend just upgrading to, I think it's like the business version of Asana. And I like that because you can do these different teams and stuff, right? So I have different teams for like all this different shit, right? So we can add a team and we can just call it podcast team, right? You can add whoever needs to be added. So for now, I'll just add my assistant. And then you can add different projects to your podcast team. So we can have a project that's for, we'll just do a blank project. And we'll just say podcast episode ideas, right? And it can be in the list. Actually, I'd probably change this to a board. And I would do ideas and discussion, send to production, and then we could say killed, right? So under here, we can just do with these, right? And then whoever's managing this process, you know, when it's time to think of new podcast ideas, you know, they can move these along and then, you know, keep it organized in this way. What else? Hold on. Let me see. Okay, hold on. Let me just link people to this and then we'll keep it going. It's a nerd flex. All right. And then we can have the actual podcast episodes, right? That need to happen. So we can do, let's see if they have a template. I wish they had a better search feature. They might not have one. Just do a search podcast. All right, no big deal. We'll just do a blank one and we can just say podcast production. So you can do a project for each, it's not telling me who this is, whoever's saying hi on Facebook, hey. You can do a project for each episode, or the way I like to do it is I like to have different episodes in a project, right? So you would have your template, podcast production. You can then do not delete, right? Then here we can have, you know, the I would first do a video explaining everything after I had this. So watch this first. Link podcast Google Drive folder, link. If we run into issues, contact name plus contact info, right? So you have your template, have a link here to your main podcast folder. Then you'd have a screen recorded video kind of walking them through the process, right? And then you have your subtask, and you can add different sections. If you're on a Mac, that's tab N. And you can say, you know, pre-production, I don't know, mid-production, live, right? So what are the things that need to happen before you decide on a podcast? You can choose episode topic, determine episode guest. Or you could say reach out to podcast guest. Schedule date and time with guest. Script episode, right? Oops. Then here you say record episode with guest. Add episode audio to Dropbox. Send episode audio to editor. Say episode audio returned. So on and so forth. And then, when it's live, you can, upload to Anchor. Here you would want to do like, create static social media graphics. And in that task, you can have, graphics episode folder, right? And a link to the folder. And then you can say, one for Twitter, IG post, IG story, Facebook post, right? And come back to your template. So that little bubble here lets you know there's more under there. And then this little branch here says there's 4 tasks under there. Then, create animated audio graphics, right? Whatever the case may be. Write social media copy to promote episode. And then what else? Write email to promote episode. Write post or, show notes to promote episode. And then for each of these, you would have, okay, so schedule social media copy plus images. So on and so forth for you can literally lay out the steps in your template, and then you go to your ideas and you decide, hold on, let me change this view also. So you say, all right, we're going to do an episode with Natea. So, we're going to come here. We're going to duplicate this task and everything in it. All right, we're going to rename it. So you can say, episode 200, Natea E. Add your links, and then you have all the steps, and then your project manager just comes in and assigns and does due dates. In your template, you can have, assignees already, and those will copy over, right? So then you're just changing due dates, right? And then here, this would be the date that the podcast has to go live, right? That episode. So let's say it's going live on that episode. And then, by default, I can always make this project assigned to like me if I'm the podcast manager. And so because I'm the manager of the podcast production, right? Ultimately, it's my responsibility to make sure that episode goes live on the 26th. And then I'm managing the people within here where this all needs to happen, right? But it all really starts with having, your template set and go, or set up to go. And so this could also be like podcast episode folder, right? For it's specific, right? And then your team just knows to drop off the shit in that link, right? And that all gets uploaded by your, your project manager and stuff. Okay, so what else did he say? Sorry, I don't know where the tweet went. Investing biz team. Okay, so let's just say you can do another team, right? So you can say investing team, right? New project. So, I don't know, business leads, right? Create project. So this is where it gets fun. I like to add fields or these little columns, right? And you can choose from, there's a library. So you can do, those are ones I added. The ones with the little things are Asana. So we can do, I like doing task status. Hi, I don't know who it is, but I can't see your name. It just says Facebook user. So we have task status, started, not started, in progress, in review, completed, reference. That's a custom tag that I set up. So as usual, I like to have a reference plus important section, right? So watch this first, how this project works. Google Drive folder for everything, business leads, and then you would link, in here. Oh shit, I don't know why I have an alarm set for right now. Hold on. I don't know if that's an old alarm or what. Okay, I don't have a call, so we're good. I don't know what that's for. So we add our link here. And then you have, business ideas, right? And so, I don't know, you could say like vending machine business. You could say vending machine. 1, 2, 3 Seagull Lane, right? And then you could have what else? Laundromat, right? 2, 3, 4 Bowling Avenue, right? So your task status, we can even there's so much you can do with these. It's really fun. You can add a field and you could say, I don't know, status, right? And you can say, not started, researching, in discussion, contacted owner. I don't know, whatever the different things are that actually need to happen, right? So like researching, in discussion, you can say offer made, offer rejected, deal killed, deal won. Offer made could be blue, offer rejected, red. Deal killed, I don't know, pink. Or that could be red too, whatever. Deal won, green, right? Yeah, I like that better. Oops. So here we can say, we're going to just add our status field. Oh, crap. I don't know if that's saved. You guys get what I'm doing. Right? So in progress, right? And then once you update, you can say in progress, made an offer with owner for, then you can tag, I don't know, whoever needs to see that message so it pops up, right? So you can come in here at any point, see what the status is of these different ventures. I like the other one I made, but I don't know why it's not showing up, whatever. And then, your project manager makes updates in here. So honestly, the way I run projects is that you just come and click in here. You see the status, you see anything pertaining to that business. So you can say the Google Drive folder where you keep documents and your spec and everything. That's all in there for that specific one. And then, an update's made. Another feature I like are rules, right? So don't judge my board, okay? I have my main board and it's my task list, so things I need to remember to do, but I haven't made them a go yet, right? I need to these are just things to remember to do, but they're not, I don't know, I haven't decided to go with them, right? Stuff that's in progress, stuff for my business, and then stuff for clients, right? So I have a couple rules where if I ever assign anything to my clients, it gets pushed into my client to-do board. So I don't have to check each of, all these projects, right? I can just check from my main board. And when I mark something as done, it automatically gets moved to done. If I assign something to my assistant in my project or any of my client projects, they go to her board, right? So she's not being bombarded by all my shit in my messy board, right? She has her stuff, right? And, because I assigned it to her, I get an update as well. So for the podcast, you can do a lot of different rules in here. When, an episode is moved to a certain section, it can kick off another task, right? Or when it's marked as done, you can, I don't know, send a message or something to somebody, right? It integrates with Slack. So, if something's done, it can, contact Chase in Slack to let him know hey, episode such and such is ready or is live, right? What else? There's some pretty cool stuff in here. I think you can also do like based off of the status of something or like based off of a drop down field. So like, let's say if I have something in here and I mark it as blocked or need an update, it can be assigned to like the project manager automatically with a new due date, right? So again, this is why I just love Asana. And then you have your different views. So if you don't like the board view, which I go between board and list views, you know, you can have a list view, a board view. You can see calendar. It takes a little while for the timeline, but you know, you have all your episodes in here and you can see when things are done. Every hour for time tracking, progress, right? So you can add milestones, right? Status updates, you can send them each Friday. So we could say like episode 200, Natea, right? On track, summary, what we accomplished, what's blocked, next steps, right? It's all made into that status update. You can add another section here if you want. It'll post and then, you know, everyone added to the project gets notified about it. So it's a great way to stay in touch without having to constantly like Slack people, text them. You know, it can be as powerful as you want. You can do forms as well. So for like work requests. So, you know, if you need like, I don't know, sometimes we have a different project for graphic designers where just like my assistant has her own board, we had our own, we would make our own boards for copywriters and graphic designers in the dev team so that they didn't have to look across multiple projects and keep up with everything. We just set rules like, all right, for this episode, I need this. So when this is assigned to that person, send it to the dev board. When anything is assigned to the copywriter, send it to their copywriting board, right? And it made everything so much easier and smoother because they only had to focus on their one board and the tasks in that board instead of looking across at multiple things. So, you know, again, a few reasons why. Conversations, this is where your status updates go, but this is also where I take call notes, right? So I say call, I do the date, say in attendance, right? Call notes, so I'll just take notes, such and such, blah, blah, blah. And then anything, for me, anything that like I would have to assign to somebody, I don't want to switch back and forth, right? I just want to pay attention to what's being said. So my cue to myself is if someone has to do something, I'll tag them. And that's my signal in a company policy to know that, you know, there's a to-do coming, right? So we'll say like, set up new project for podcast. And then we'll say due 6/16, right? So anything actionable, I tag the person, what needs to be done, a due date if applicable, I'll post. And then I'll come back to my board after the call and when I have like time, right? And I'll be like, all right, let me look. Okay, so we have a to-do, set up new project for podcast, right? So, you know, review podcast team call, 44, 20-minute mark, right? Or contact Ari for details about this. Or, you know, if you're a great writer, you can put the details of it in there. But I assign it to myself, set the due date, and then bam, this person knows and they can move it forward, right? But that way I can just focus on the call and then just, you know, come back and organize stuff. So, oh, your hands are freezing. That's pretty much it. Do you guys have questions?
Can I say something?
What? You scratched yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you all right?
Yeah, when I was trying to do my new toy toe, that didn't open and close.
All right. I'm almost done in here.
I know I'm talking I have this.
It's gone, but there's more in the bag. All right. So if no more questions, I'm going to hop off. But yeah, that's basically, you know, I would do the business version of Asana so that you have these features. I would do a team per company or, you know, initiative or department. And then they can have their own projects under those. And then, you know, and regardless of like, this is going to look crazy right now. No matter what team you're on, whenever someone gets assigned something, it's in their task list. But, you know, for me, what I have set up, what I would do is set up a rule that says, I'll show you guys the rules also. Again, So I'll go rule, let's go, create custom rule, task assigned, so me, and then add to another project, right? So my main board, and then I would add it to my like client to-do list, right? Or, you know, if something's assigned to my assistant, right? I can do my main board and then her column. And then in my main board, there's a rule that says anything assigned in this board to my assistant, switch that over to her board as well, right? Or I can just set it up from here. And then these are the different triggers, you know, due date set, right? There's a lot of like cool new due date, or if something doesn't have a due date, right? You can say, you know, you can say blocked, right? So if you have like a blocked section, or you can assign it to somebody, right? So, okay, this doesn't have a due date, assign it to the project manager and they know to update it, right? So there's a lot you can do and play with in there. I think that's all. So yeah, hope this was helpful. Bye.